Hey guys, it's Kelly. Did an art journal page and recorded it as I went and got it down to 13 minutes. So here goes. It's super fast. Those are the Twinkling H2O paints that I got from Hobby Lobby. I kind of like them, but you have to add water to them and then they get like holes in it. It's weird. But I just used two different shades of blue there. And it's watercolor paper that I'm using because that's basically a watercolor kind of paint. So, and I like them. They leave like a shimmer, and it's not too overpowering. It's a real subtle shimmer on a watercolor, which is something you don't usually see. It's pretty cool. I like them. And I've only used them one other time before that I didn't record, so. But just, again, two different shades of blue. Like one's kind of a purpley. I don't remember the names of the colors. But so again, you have to spray a bunch of water in there because they dry up, and you spray a bunch of water and you activate it, and then you paint it on. So I'm going for a sky. So I want a little bit of dark stripes of blue in there. And this, the Twinkling H2Os, once they're dry, they're permanent, so they don't move around. Those are just pieces of corrugated cardboard that I actually got from Lynn. That's Scrappity Doodah. And I opened the box and I saw a little strip of corrugated cardboard and I said, I'm going to use that, and here I go, I'm using it. So my idea was to have real simple, girly, like, it's kind of like a childlike page I did, but girly like flowers. And I started off making them into little hearts, but then I actually wanted them to be the petals of flowers. So, and I got those little pink silicone things on my fingers so I don't burn my fingers, because you got to push it together. Those things are awesome. Lynn, if you're watching, you hate burning your fingers, you can get those from Mod Podge has them. I actually have an extra pair. I can mail it to you. Huh. I just looked over there. But anyway, so I'm just pinching them together, making them look like flower petals. First it starts off as a heart, then you push it down and it's like a double flower petal. I was hoping I could do two at a time, but I wound up ripping them apart. That's what I'm doing right now, and just having them individual petals of a flower. And then just arranging them. I've never made a flower like this before. I was just figuring it out as I went. So, and I just used my hole punch and punched a couple pieces of paper to stabilize it. And they were a little bit too long, so I had to cut them down a little bit. Then arrange them the way I liked them, and I glued them down. There's only 5 petals on that. Turned it over and did the same thing on the other side. And I'm just cutting them down again because they were just a little bit too long. And I wanted 3 flowers, all different sizes, just subtle differences. One pretty small one, and then 2 that are just a little bit different. But the same style of flower is what I was going for. And some of them were, they're about a 1/4 inch, and I was off on a couple of them, so I just cut them down. It wasn't laying flat. That's what I was cutting off. So there's 2 of them. And then I'm just measuring out to make the last one. I think I did it at 1 inch. I can't remember. Looks like 1 inches. Maybe 2. I can't tell. But this time I just glued them individually because now I knew how I wanted to do it. Because like I said, I haven't made these before. I was just figuring out as I went, figuring out what worked and what didn't. So I actually just did these in little circles because I wanted this flower to be smaller. And the other flowers that I made, the petals were a little bit too far apart. And I wound up gluing them together. But this one was more of, you know, third time's a charm, right? So this third one wound up looking better. And that was the look I was going for. So and I'm just taking the lid to my water sprayer and cutting a circle that's a little bit smaller. 2 circles, one for the front and the back. And then, I don't know, I decided I wanted to distress it. I don't know what I was thinking. By the time I'm done with it, you can't even tell I did that. So I'm gluing all the little circles together in the pattern I like. And that was one that was a little too long again. So I'm just sticking them together with some hot glue. There we go. And after I distressed it, the circles were too big. So I wound up cutting it and distressing it again. I should have cut out the distressing part, but I didn't. So, as you can see, the flowers are all white. I dunked them, literally dunked them in my gesso bucket and just covered them. It was a mess. It was a mess. But I wanted them completely covered in gesso because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, but I knew I wanted to do something with them. But so that's the Twinkling H2O, and I'm just putting it on, kind of like blobbing it on, because that's supposed to be like a grassy background. And I was just showing you gesso was on the flower. That's what I was doing. So I'm using my gesso again with some stencils. Just I wanted to make the background with some clouds in it. And you can see the sun up there. I just used my gelato and put it on the stencil, the sun part of the stencil, and just did it that way. So the sun up in the corner is from the same stencil, but the gesso over this, the Twinkling H2O, doesn't absorb the color because, again, it's permanent once it's dry. I really like that about it. So I could put anything I wanted over this when this color was in the background, and it would not get compromised. I like that. So I think it was going back to like my childhood paintings and drawings that I used to do for my grandma that she loved. I must be missing her. She always loved the blue sky and the clouds. When you're, you know, when you're a kid, you draw something and it's the most hideous thing, but your grandma and grandpa love it. They make the biggest deal. Anyway, so there I'm just putting, it's still gesso, and I'm just using my sponge to kind of put stripes in the sky of like swiped clouds. I kind of like how that looked. So, I wound up painting the yellow part with paint. First I tried Delusions and it was a mess, so I just wound up painting it with some good yellow paint, acrylic paint. And that is just the gauze strips that you get, you know, from the first aid kits, or, you know, just if you hurt yourself, you put a piece of gauze over it and put tape over it. I'm just ripping it up and filling in the holes with it. I don't know why. I just thought I wanted it to be puffy in there. I didn't want it to be see-through. I wanted to fill it with something, and I didn't like the idea of putting vellum paper or tissue paper in it or cheesecloth. I tried that. This is what I wound up going with. So once you maneuver it around and tear it apart, it'd be cool for Halloween too, for like webbing or mummy stuff or whatever, but I'm just tearing it apart and putting it in the petal parts. And there's quite a bit of this that got missed, but I'll show you at the end. I hold the camera and record a little bit, but that is that lovely box that Lynn over at Scrappity Doodah sent to me as a thank you gift. I just love it. And those are some of the gorgeous die cuts that she sent to me. And I decided that I wanted to use not only the corrugated cardboard that she sent in her package, but also these green leafy die cuts that she sent. They're so intricate. I love them. I guess they're Dutch dies. And so I wanted to use them on this page. So I was just playing with how I was going to arrange them all on there. And I like it. I wound up not needing that third one, but I'm just playing around with what might work. That would have been okay if I would have done that, but I decided not to. I'll hold that one for another time. And that box gorgeous. Ugh, I love it. I love it. It's right on my table. Right in front of me. Okay, so off camera I've been dying to use this stamp, and yeah, I went a little crazy. I went way overboard, but I knew a lot of it was going to be covered up, so I said, what the heck, who cares? It's my art journal page, I can do whatever I want. So I went with it. So I'm just using Mod Podge and laying down the leaves like I liked them. And again, I knew some of those teardrops were going to get covered, so, or those water drops would get covered, so I just went crazy. And then by the sun there's a boo-boo, and I wound up covering that up. I covered it up with a piece of paper that had a hole punched in it, and it went through. I don't know what I was thinking. So there it is, Mod Podging that stuff down. And that is a Martha Stewart glue pen. It's a ballpoint pen. I love that for those butterflies. That's pretty much the only thing I use it for. You could use it for so many more things, but I love it when you just need a straight, thin line of glue. So those are just the Martha Stewart butterfly punches. 3 different ones. And I'm just layering them. And there's the butterfly to cover up my boo-boo stamp. No big deal. Some glossy accents on there. And then you'll see me do that with my glossy accents a lot. If you just squirt it out at the end, let the glue fall down, then squirt it up at the end into a tissue or something, you won't get clogged. You just, squirt it out and let the air go in it and squirt it out one more time. Make sure there's no glue left in the tube, and it won't get clogged on you. It only takes 2 seconds to do that, so it's worth it. If you're so sick of your glossy accents getting clogged, that's how you fix it. So I glued my flowers down, just putting some random butterflies here and there. And I'm okay with that. Definitely needed the brown that I planned on at the bottom though, because it's just looking a little unfinished. So there it is. I stamped a Tim Holtz bird stamp up there, and then stamped Pretty Things. And at the bottom, that's a piece of torn vellum paper that's painted brown to make the dirt look like that. So there it is. And then I used my white gel pen just to draw on the leaves. And there are some still pictures. So it's a fun page. I also put a bunch of stickles all over the gauze. It's filled with stickles. And then I also put little black dots with my Sharpie in the middle there after I stamped Pretty Things. So thank you for watching, guys. Super quick page, and there's more to come. Thanks, bye.